we all understand the benefits of getting good quality beestings into newborn calf as quickly as possible. But sometimes the cow, or particularly a heifer, may not have enough beestings. So it's good always to have some frozen, good quality beestings in the freezer. So just a few suggestions that I would make to how to have good quality beestings for that calf that when the mother doesn't have the beestings. So so obviously you milk a cow, some cow has to have surplus beestings for you to freeze for you to put some in the freezer. So when you would milk your cow, stand your usual thing, we're all told keep it clean, hygiene, everything, and that is important because beestings is just a great place for bacteria. Bacteria just love beestings. They double in the TBC of beestings will double every 20 minutes. So at 12 o'clock, you milk a cow at 12 o'clock, by 20 past 12, the TBC has doubled. So if it started at 100,000, and it will be higher to start, anyway, the TBC of beestings will be higher than ordinary milk. So because you got blood and whatever, all that in the milk. So the TBC of beestings is going to be higher than normal milk anyway. So it's important that you don't leave it warm for too long because the bacteria really get growing fast. So anyway, if you're going to go to the trouble of freezing beestings, make sure you start off with good quality. The best way to be sure you have good quality is to use the refractometer. So just dip this into the milk. Now actually I find it's better to use the back of the refractor than this little pipette, because once you get beestings inside this you couldn't wash it. So just put it in there, a few little drops, dip it into your milk, put it on the top of it there, look at it, there you go, give the result, right, it's 25, it's 28, whatever it is. If it's 18, there's no point in freezing it. If it's 22, there's probably no point in freezing it. So I would say, you will get to know your own cows, so you get to know your minimum level that you will freeze it. And I would say probably as a rough guide, maybe don't freeze anything less than 24 or 25. So you freeze the beestings. Now again, you can freeze it inside milk cartons. Did it myself, plenty for long enough. The problem with milk cartons is they're not the ideal shape for thawing out the beestings afterwards. And they're actually not the great shape either to get it to freeze fast, because it's just as important to get it to cool down fast as it is to thaw fast. So if you have a milk carton, it'll take longer to cool it because there isn't a big surface area. Whereas these bags, which are specifically made for the beestings, have a very large surface area. They're a heavy quality plastic. They can be reused. It's got a 40mm opening here in the tops, so you can fill it straight out of a bucket or whatever. You don't need a funnel. These will actually contain 4 litres of milk, but I would say just put in maybe 3 litres and get it into the freezer as quickly as possible. Now when you're putting it in the freezer, maybe no harm just to have a flat board or something to lay underneath it so as you don't wrinkle the bag, and especially if you're putting 2 bags one on top of another, keep something between them so as they don't stick together, because if they stick together there's a possibility that you could, when you put them apart, you could rip the bag and you'll be back to me for more bags. But anyway, so the bags can be reused. So now the bag's got a handle on it for feeding. If you want to feed direct from the bag afterwards, you can put a stomach tube direct onto the bag, or if the calf is willing to drink, you can put on this one and it can feed direct from that. Again, when you go to take out the beestings, then you want to thaw it out as quickly as possible, because obviously you don't want to be waiting too long for the calf to feed the calf. So, but then obviously you don't want to overheat the beestings either. If you put it into boiling water, while it will thaw the milk very fast, you'll damage the beestings. So I have this little unit here that you can preset the temperature. So this will heat the water to whatever. I usually set the water temperature at about 45 degrees. So you put this stand this inside the bath of water, preset the temperature 40, so it'll heat the water and it'll agitate the water and it'll thaw out your bag much faster. And that should do. Now with these bags, we sell them on the website. They're a heavy gauge plastic, so they can be reused. 20 bags and this feed feeder and stomach tube come €85, including the VAT and postage. We sell the refractometers. If you buy the refractometer with it, it'll add another €40, 125 for the whole lot. I think to me the refractometer is an essential part of the whole kit. If you want to buy this kit with the heater, the bath, the whole lot, it works out at €375, including VAT and delivery for the whole lot. And with that you have a good system for testing your bee stings, storing it, and for trying it out afterwards. Thank you.